All right. Good morning. Good morning, Lois. How are you?
Good. Good morning.
Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone had an awesome weekend. It's now Monday, a new week. And we just wanted to come this morning and say good morning and hope you had a great week. Got one more week before Christmas. Is that right? Am I counting down the
I
days?
can't believe that.
It's a week before Christmas.
Merry
Can you
Christmas.
imagine? Merry Christmas. And it's almost the end of the year. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I keep thinking that it's 2 weeks away, and it's
Nope.
not. Have you done all your Christmas shopping? Are you ready to go?
Well, I'm not doing a whole lot of Christmas shopping, but I am trying to arrange to go see my uncle and my aunt in Florida between now and the end of the year. So I'm going to be driving, so I'm not really having a planned day per se, but I would like to drive down and see them. They're in the country from the Caribbean. My aunt is actually getting some treatment. And so I want to see them before they actually head back. So definitely between now and the end of the year, I'll be driving down to Florida, to Orlando to see them and take them some holiday cheer, I'm hoping.
That sounds nice.
All right. So I'm gonna allow you to kind of kick us off this morning because we're having a conversation, but I want you to go ahead and kick us off in terms of what you were thinking and talking about earlier today.
Yeah, so we're just gonna have a conversation. Jenice and I didn't really get a lot of chance to talk this week, and we wanted to kind of throw some things back and forth and see what you guys think. I was at a live nativity last night. It was pretty fun. We had Joseph and Mary and the baby, and we set up all day in the freezing cold.
Oh, wow.
And then my daughter, she got all dressed up and played a marketplace person. And they, it was a really fun time.
It sounds like a fun time. Oh,
wow. But there were a lot of conversations that happened throughout the day because we were there most of the day. And one of the conversations I had, and I realized I've been having more often lately. And it had to do with how we tend to just dismiss ourselves, really. We, because of the hurt or the pain we dealt with in childhood, we so easily can ignore the signs of fire happening around us emotionally. And it was pretty interesting when we got home last night from the nativity. We were all sitting around by the Christmas tree, and we had watched the night before. We had this experience where we wanted to do a family movie. So we went downstairs, and we hadn't planned like which one to watch. So we were kind of flipping through the channels, and we landed on this one, and Grant was like, "Oh, just do it," because it was getting late. And so we started it, and it was just kind of like, got 15 minutes in, and he just didn't like it. I just didn't like it. Gray was like, and
thumbs down.
So we stopped watching. And so fast forward to last night, we were talking about it around the Christmas tree. And my husband was like, yeah, I just didn't like that movie. And we could see on Ella's face, like this kind of just sadness.
Oh.
And she was like, yeah. And he looked at her and he said, you liked that movie, didn't you? And he said, it's okay for you to like it. You don't have to do what everybody else does. You don't have to not like it just because daddy and mommy don't like it. And I think it's really easy for us to have done things like that in our childhood, for a message to have been delivered somehow that we weren't enough, or that the movies that we liked weren't the ones that we should have been watching. So we're just going to get on board with all the things that everybody else was going to do. And somehow we took those on and we said, this is the new me. And then we get into our adulthood and we realize, wait a minute, I'm this whole other person. And we want to be honoring that person. We want to be the person that we are showing up for every day. And because it's disingenuous, and it's not genuine to be someone you're not. And really, you're not thriving if you're hiding and being someone else. And so I was just thinking about those things, and I'm having that conversation a lot more lately.
So I'm curious, how did Ella respond to it was okay for her to feel that she could like that movie and you guys didn't? Was that a relief for her? Did she admit that she liked the movie? How did that, did she feel okay then to express that, yes, she liked that movie?
Yeah, she was.
See?
There was a relief and a like, oh yeah, because there was some dancing in it, and she loves dancing and music.
See, yeah.
It was almost like a part of her was back. Because it's never like in those moments when we're negating something or saying, I don't like that. It may not mean anything for us, but it may be that we are unintentionally delivering to someone else a message that we don't even know we're delivering.
That's interesting. It's funny, that reminds me of a class that I took in college. And I didn't really know about it until that class, but I found it so profound and I found it so interesting and so fascinating. And the class was talking about body language and how we speak, not only with our mouths and with our facial expressions, but we actually send stories and messages and speak with our body language. And it was simple things that I learned then that I realized how impactful body language and messaging can be picked up without even saying a word. And it was, the class we're talking about communication. It was a communications class. And we were talking, and I was like, I just sat there with my mouth open. I was like, wow, people can really, and I didn't realize it before, but it's absolutely true. And I said, you know what, that really makes sense. That I always know when my father was upset, or I'll know when my father was being serious, or when he was joking, and he didn't have to say anything. I was able to remember, it just brought things to my mind, and I was like, wow, so that's what I was picking up when I realized, now's not the time to go talk to mommy or daddy, or now's not the time to go ask my mom for some money, or to ask if I can go to my friend's house. This is not the time. Or this is the perfect time. Or this is when I spoke to mom and she said no, but daddy looks like he's in a good mood. Let me go ask daddy if I can go, and then see if I can kind of change mommy's mind. And I was young. I was only 5 then, because I lost my mom when I was 5. So I was 5 years old, and I was already being able to know, or being able to pick up when was the best time to go get what I needed, right? Or to not go when I didn't need to go because it wasn't the right time. So just picking up the signals, or picking up the vibes at that young of an age, that's really profound what you just said, because now it just made sense to me in that class that is absolutely the truth. You can pick up a whole lot just from messaging, from the facial expressions even, or when you have, like, even in my training career and my consulting career, there was more information about that. So when training a class, we need to be able to read the room, they told us, and we need to be able to understand our audience. And it didn't mean just from the questions they asked, it meant from the facial expressions, whether they were engaged in what you were talking about or the subject, or whether they were bored stiff and you had to now switch up the curriculum a little bit to kind of get them re-engaged, or whether they, they were there because they were told to come by their boss that they needed to take this class. And so they were there, and they were just basically sitting there, and they're just, they're there, but they're not really there. Or they were there because, that's my phone going off. Hold on one second, I do need to take this. So go ahead and have a conversation in terms of that,
Okay.
because I do.
Yeah, and kids are feelers too. So, one thing I've noticed with my kids is they, or with me too, when I was young, I would feel things but not know why. So you experience something, you feel it, you experience it, and then may not know how to explain it to your parents. And that was always really hard for me to feel like I had a position, but didn't have any way to deal with that. And with my kids, I see them actually experiencing things, feeling that thing so deeply, and then not having the words to articulate what they're feeling. Talking about my kids, Jenice, not having the words to articulate what they're feeling.
Gotcha.
And I had that same thing when I was young. Like, I would feel something so deeply, but not have the words to communicate what I was feeling, which is always really frustrating for me, because the passion was there, the real, very real and deep emotion and valid emotion, but the words that an adult would have to attach to it was just not there.
Was not there. That's interesting. So not being able to have the language or the words to express it, but actually feeling it and wanting to express it, but not knowing how to express it adequately. So yeah, that's also interesting. And that, I'm sure, can cause a little bit of frustration too, in terms of wanting to be able to express, but not being able to express. And then the frustration that comes along with that. And maybe the not knowing how to proceed forward because you're not sure how to say what you need to say. So then you don't say anything, or you basically internalize it and keep quiet about it because you don't know how to say it. And so that's something that I've experienced as well in my own life, in that I'm not really sure how this is going to come across. I'm not really sure how I need to say this. So maybe I shouldn't say it. When that's probably the time that I should say something, but not knowing how it's going to land. And so not saying anything at all, and then denying myself the opportunity to verbalize what it is. So that I've experienced that as well. So that's important.
Yeah, there's always been this thing in me where I can feel this thing, as things that are wrong, like things that are off in a situation. I'll step into it, not know exactly what's wrong, but I can sense that things are off. And it's usually correct. But I can't say, these are the things that are wrong, you know? And that's what people want if you're going to communicate. They want you to be able to come in and say, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. These are the things that I see. And so there have been a couple times when I've just, in certain situations, had to say, I see that something's wrong here. And so I can't be a part of it, but I can't tell you why. To be honest with myself.
Yeah.
Frustrates people, because they want to know all of the details. And
Yeah, fill in the blanks.
Yeah, that's a hard thing.
Interesting. That's good that you're able to at least recognize that there's something that's amiss, but not even sure exactly what it is yet, but being able to express even just that piece. Because when I feel that I don't have all the pieces together, that's when I tend to not express that I'm even feeling anything. I tend to internalize it, and then people will be able to tell something's wrong from the expression on my face, maybe because I kind of happen to wear my feelings on my sleeve. But I haven't expressed anything, so they're not really sure what I'm upset about or what I'm thinking about, but they know that I'm not present right then and there because of the expressions or whatever I'm giving off, right? So sometimes people have to say, okay, I haven't heard from you, or you haven't said anything, what's going on, right? Especially people that know me. So people that know me well, they can tell when something is not quite right or something is amiss, and they'll probe. But not everyone knows me that well, so they're not aware that I've got something on my mind, or that I'm thinking about something, or that something is not quite right with me, until they get to know me a little better. So that's probably it's good that I need to kind of take a page from your book, where even though things are not exactly how you want them to be, that I'm able to at least express, well, let me think about it. I'm not feeling really good about that right now. I'm not sure exactly why, but let's revisit this. And so when I'm able to kind of now mull it over in my mind, think about what I want to say, think about the situation that's causing me whatever it is, consternation, right? And then revisit it. So communication, I think, I always say this, communication is paramount. Communication is really key. So regardless of how you're feeling, it should be that you could be able to express what you're feeling to the people that matter to you, especially when you're feeling good, when you're feeling bad, when you're feeling, upset, when you're feeling angry, all of these different things, you should be able to effectively communicate what you're feeling, so people can understand where you're coming from and communicate back with you, and draw you into the conversation, and you draw them into the conversation. Sometimes we need to do that, and we don't do that enough. Also, what do you think about the fact that sometimes we don't think that what we have to say is that important, or that people won't think it's important, so we also hold back? We like that happens to me sometimes. Sometimes I feel like, well, whatever I have to say is really not that significant, so I'm just going to shut up. I'm not going to say anything. And when I have something really profound to say, then I'm going to say what I need to say, right? So that's also kind of what plays into my conversation sometimes. Do you find that to be so?
Yeah, I think that's a massive conversation.
Because you're having it all with yourself, right?
We may have to have part 2.
Yeah. Because
no,
that's big.
That's definitely I think a lot of us struggle with,
Yeah.
because feeling like you don't have the right words, or you're not just in your head the best.
Mm-hmm.
We all struggle at some point with feeling like we're less than.
Yes. Well, not as important as, right?
We're not as important as, or we're just comparing,
Yeah.
We may be the authority and the best at what we do, and we look at the person next to us and they've got a better suit on,
Ah,
you know, and it really doesn't matter how much you know or how beautiful you are or how incredible your skin is. There's something that will work its way into your mind and cause you to think, I'm not doing it right today.
uh-huh.
And we just got to choose, we get to choose. And I think that's a very large conversation, maybe for another day. But
Yeah,
I think today, to remind ourselves to speak words that are beneficial and beautiful and actually lift us up.
yeah.
I know for me, I want to make sure I'm doing that, because when I say things that are negative, I'm anchoring a negative anchor that is harmful, and
Gotcha.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I think what you said is powerful in that we need to be speaking words of empowerment and uplifting, because what we are, words are powerful, and what you speak, you are, and you become. So speaking powerful and empowering words, and words that lift people up and lift you up yourself. That's why affirmations work so well, because you are speaking positivity into existence, and the words that you speak carry weight, and they mean a lot. So I think that's very important what you said. But also, when you said something earlier, you reminded me of my dad. My dad always used to say, Jenice, you have choices. He always used to say that. And it was something that he said, and I didn't quite understand it when I was young, but as I got older, I understood it, that we do have choices. We don't have to be a certain way just because that's what's expected. We actually get to choose what we say, how we are, who we are, and how we show up. We have choices, and he always used to say that. And my aunt remembers him saying that. We just had my father's birthday actually fell on the weekend on the 18th, and so I remembered him, and I was thinking about him a lot. And that was one of the first things that came to my mind. Janice, you have choices. I thought, wow. So that just kind of made me think about him again when you said that we do absolutely have choices. Great conversation this morning. Great conversation.
Sure.
So words of empowerment and uplifting and affirmation, very, very important for us to practice that. And yes, we have a choice to do that.
I'll plan on that. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Have a great week. Today's Monday. Have an awesome week. One more week before Christmas. Let's get ready to enjoy it. Have a good one.